Unavailable.
And we're recording. So, hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Doug Cow Show, and I have a special guest host with me today. Say hi, Aaron.
Hi.
Um, so today we are taking a look at the book The Glass Girl by Kathleen Glasgow. And Aaron was the one who recommended this book to me, and let's just say it changed things for me or made things, I don't know how you would put it, clearer or what, but it did something to me. I'll just tell you that. Um, so Aaron, what are your thoughts? Do you want to start out and talk about it for
Um,
the minute?
sure.
Yeah, okay, cool.
So I came across this book, and I'm a sociology major in college. I studied just sociology, how people work in society, what makes them do the things they do, what makes them tick. I've always been interested in that. And when I saw this book, I was interested in reading about a teenager who had a problem with alcohol, especially in today's society, although it's always been a problem in society for teenagers. And I, the only thing I could say about this book is wow. I
Right.
thought it was going to be I don't know, like a bunch of, I don't know, kind of woke type stuff and a lot of the new slang mixed in and everything. And it wasn't. It was a very real, down to earth experience. The girl is someone that we could, I think, all relate to with her
Yeah,
personal
I
life.
agree.
She had a sister who struggled with maybe some autism, being on the spectrum, and her mom had a job, a writing job, and she didn't ever want to interfere because she knew her mom was busy as a single mom trying to write her stories, and so it was just her bottling up all this pain, and I think a lot of us can relate to that and not
Yep.
knowing where to turn when we have those things going on, because sometimes it's easier to bottle it up or try to sweep it under the rug and not face it. I think just about everyone can understand that.
That's
So,
very true. I would agree with you there.
but there were a lot of things in this book that just really opened up my eyes to understanding what goes on in the mind of an alcoholic or someone who is going through finding out that they have a problem. Um, and in this case, the girl could not get through, uh, a day without taking a
Without a
drink,
drink, basically.
right? And it became more and more frequent. First it was just a little hanging out with friends, and then
Yeah.
it
And
it was a
Grandma
bigger
actually
problem.
started it.
Yes, her grandmother started by giving her a little bit of a sip of schnapps, and I think a lot of people get to sample things from their parents. At least that's something I think you hear about a lot. A little sip
Yeah.
of champagne or wine
Mhm.
at a church service or at a wedding or New Year's.
Yeah.
Um, but for most people, that doesn't become a thing. But for
Mm-mm.
some, they can feel the effects of it and realize,
They like
hey,
it, and
this
it's
makes
just
me
like,
feel
ooh, I
good.
like that. I want that more and more and more. And then you do it more and more and more, and it becomes a big issue.
Right. And and I was not surprised, that's not the word I want to use, but it was just amazing, I guess, or shocking to see how quickly things can spin out of control when her friends were able to stop drinking, but she couldn't go home and put it down. She had to
Yep.
continue, and that was her crutch.
Yep. And I think the craziest part of this book was when basically she blacks out and her friends. The well, first let's talk about the video. The video was just like, really? I mean, literally, this girl is drunk and she sees her ex-boyfriend in the party, and um This guy
let's not
living.
let's not give it away. Let's not give the
Oh
whole
yeah.
video away.
Okay.
But there is a video that
Yeah.
is quite revealing and
Yeah.
leads to her kind of downfall and a blackout that she can't come back from so easily. And that is what ultimately leads to her going into treatment. And Doug mentioned yesterday that it did not seem like she was ever going to go into treatment.
Nah,
Um,
it didn't.
Please excuse the squeaking in the background. That's my poodle who is playing with a toy. Um, and once she did go into treatment, you run into other characters who have pretty different situations. Some of them are the same, but others were having some issues with drug addiction. And of course, there is obviously sexual abuse mixed into that, and a lot of abandonment by family and loved ones.
Yeah.
Um, I don't want to give anything away about the characters, but it does detail her treatment day by day, which I really liked that. A lot of
Yeah, that was
books I
cool.
don't think would do that. Um, and it wasn't one of those books, and she actually mentions this in the book. It wasn't one of those books where she's in a therapy session and all of a sudden the therapist hits a spot and she all of a sudden just starts blubbering and has a huge breakthrough. It's not like that at all.
Yeah.
And it very easily could be,
Yep.
but it's a very realistic look into the eyes of someone who
Who's
has,
addicted?
yeah, who has that problem and they're facing it, and then they're definitely in denial because
Yeah.
if you've ever studied the five stages of grief, which you can go through in addiction and healing, that is part of it. They will tell you at Alcoholics Anonymous and Al-Anon meetings, which is for friends and family of alcoholics, that you will go through these stages, and they will not necessarily go in order from the first to the last. They may be all mixed together, but the first stage, as we probably know, is denial
Denial,
and
anger, grief. I think. Um.
depression
Yeah.
and acceptance.
Yep.
So, she had those whole mixed bag of emotions, and then there were a lot of mixed messages. And you know there are a lot of people who face addiction who have had bad pasts, but surprisingly I think it happens a lot more than we
It.
know or realize, that people who have pretty supportive families or maybe have a lot of resources at their disposal potentially go through these types of problems, and
Yeah.
the family doesn't know
Mhm.
that they're going through this
Yep.
because they don't want to be a bother. They don't think they have a problem, and so now you will see in the book that her father had a drinking problem, and I would call him an alcoholic. Um,
Yeah.
and he was not supportive, which
Mm. No.
because of his own denial, he
Yep.
refused to see that his daughter had a problem because
Cause
to him it wasn't a big deal.
yeah. Cause he was like, oh, it's just a beer, and you don't even like beer, and like that
Right,
doesn't matter. It's like
right,
if you are an alcoholic, you're an alcoholic. You're gonna drink whatever you can to feel that high. And with beer, in my opinion, it's much more dangerous because you have to drink a whole lot more of it to feel that high. Because if you're used to drinking liquor and stuff like that, you're not gonna get the high off of a beer that you're gonna get off of liquor unless you just
right,
drink a whole
right.
crap ton of beer.
And so you're looking to chase that high, and it's not going to come, and so you just keep drinking and drinking, and you think, oh, it's just a beer. It's nothing. It's not going to do anything. Just having fun.
Yep.
And there is a line, a very fine line between fun and
Yep.
verging on dangerous.
Yep.
It can get out of control very quickly,
Yep.
and especially I will say this for teenagers,
Oh
the
yeah.
brain is not actually developed until we are about
like
23 years
early,
old.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
early
So
20s, I would say.
yes. So about 23 is usually the age where it tops off. But so you are damaging your growing brain with teenagers and kids doing these types of things. And a sad thing is that today we're seeing,
Excuse me.
or at least it's coming to light anyway. This could have always been a thing, but we're seeing that kids younger and younger are having these problems with alcohol and drugs and um, because they have so many pressures to cope
Yeah,
with and don't know how. And there's so many things expected of them. And they have to be so many things in the case of our character in the book. And Bella was always trying to be the best student, the best daughter, the best sister.
and
And
then
I will say she was always top, first and foremost, the best sister that she could be.
hmm and then everybody put pressure on her. Oh, Bella, do it. Bella will do it. Bella will do it. It was always Bella, do this. Bella, do that. It's just like,
Yes,
ah,
including um, taking the responsibility of communicating between her parents who were divorced.
yep,
And
exactly.
nobody should be put in that situation.
No, nope,
She was the child, and they were the adults, and
yeah,
could not amicably deal with each other. And so they expected their daughter to take that on. And that's completely inappropriate.
yep. But no, this book, I think this book will hit anybody, even if you don't have an addiction problem. I think this book will hit you like it'll hit you. It'll do something to you because it did something to me. Like I I did not think that this book was gonna hit me like this, but it did. And I called Aaron yesterday and I was like, "Yo, I think this book broke something in me, or not really broke something, but just I don't even know how you would put it."
It sheds a new light on something that I think it could happen to anybody.
Yep.
I think that's the thing is the author portrayed this in a way to show that alcohol and drug addiction does not discriminate.
Nope.
It's not just for rich people or poor people or any kind of racial identification. It can happen to anyone,
Yeah.
and it can happen quickly.
Yep.
Um, so, and the fact that Bella, her grandmother, started out giving her sips of peach schnapps, which her grandmother probably thought was utterly harmless.
Right.
And then her father having a drinking problem, it's been shown that people who have family members who have drinking problems, they are more
It's
susceptible
in
to that. It's genetic.
yeah.
It
It's
doesn't mean that that will happen to that
mm-mm.
person, but it is something to be
It's more
mindful of.
likely to happen.
Right, right. And it's just good to be mindful of that. If someone knows that their family has a drinking problem, they need to go
Be
into the
careful.
situation knowing that I need to be responsible. We need to be responsible anyway, but
Yeah.
that just adds an extra layer to it. Um, and I'll just say if there's anybody out there listening who maybe you know someone that has a drinking problem,
Or a
maybe
drug problem.
someone out there or a drug problem, any kind of problem, um, you know, talk to somebody, try to see what you can do to
Yeah.
get help for yourself emotionally because not only dealing with the person who has the problem, you have your own set of emotions that you will have to face and deal with. So I definitely feel like talking with someone, whether it be someone at school
Friends,
or church
family.
or friends
Yeah.
and family, who can help you put light on this, even a counselor, um, I highly recommend if you feel comfortable doing that. Um, there are anonymous meetings, and now with the internet being what it is after the pandemic,
Yeah.
we have Zoom and all kinds of things. So, Alcohol Anonymous, Al-Anon, teens, Alateen for
Yeah.
teens of alcoholics, parents and family members. They are all there resources you can get those apps, you can go online, and you can participate in anonymous meetings. Um, they are very welcoming atmospheres, um, and they're there for anybody who needs to just listen to what other people are going through,
Mm,
and nobody's made to speak up.
mm-mm.
Um, and it's a very eye-opening situation. If you attended an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting just to see what goes on, I think everybody would kind of step back and take a little bit of a different look at life and think, wow,
Right.
you know, that could so easily be me or someone
I
I
mean,
know. And I'm grateful for what I do have.
right.
Um, and there are, I know this sounds like one of those lawyer things, but there are so many resources available. I'm not a huge Facebook fan, but if Facebook is your thing or any of the social medias, they do also have Facebook groups, support groups, and
Mm-hmm.
local support groups in your area. So I don't want to go on and give a lecture here, but I just want to make sure that everybody knows that, hey, you're not alone.
Nope.
There are other people who go through these things, and that I think that was the one thing with the main character Bella, that she did not realize or could not understand, that there were people out there willing to help, and all she had to do is ask. And sometimes that is the hardest thing to do, is
Yep.
start that
It
conversation,
is.
no
And
matter what side of the conversation you're
yep.
on.
Even if you're not on drugs or not suffering from addiction, if you have depression or something like that, it's hard because it's like you don't know how, maybe you don't know how to tell the person what you're going through, or maybe you just I don't know. It's just hard, and you know it's like you know, and I mean I will tell a personal experience here. Now this was I was 18, maybe 19 at the time. So me and my cousins were down at this fire pit, and keep in mind, this was my literal first time ever consuming liquor. Now, so I had these. It was a big McDonald's cup. I had six screwdrivers, six big screwdrivers. So naturally, I'm already messed up as it is. So, um, basically, we had vodka left. So there was vodka in the bottle. So I just turn it up and just drink it. Next thing I know, I'm blacked out. Don't know what's going on. Next day, mom and dad tell me, "Oh well, you almost died. If we hadn't have picked you up and helped you so you could throw up and just be okay, you would have died." And I mean, I, even to this day, I'm just like, dang, I could have killed myself. I'm just like, wow. I mean, now I'm older and wiser, and you know, but just be careful, guys. Just really, really be careful. And I'm talking to
Right.
grown-ups here too. I'm not just talking to kids. I'm talking to everybody. Just be careful what you do.
Right. And if you see somebody, say at a family gathering or party or something, you know, um, just say, hey, let's slow down here. Let's
Yeah.
take a minute, and that isn't always going to work. I'll tell you that, but it's worth mentioning, trying to put that into someone's head and say, hey, let's not take this too far, because as I said, there's a fine line between having fun and then taking it too far. And then, of course, um, going even further is alcohol poisoning and blacking out. And it
Yep.
is not hard to get to that point,
Nope.
especially if you make the beginner's mistake of mixing your alcoholic beverages.
Yep.
That is the worst thing that you can do, as well as drinking on an empty stomach. Um, and you know that that is detrimental, to anybody, and it's not a pretty thing to watch.
Yeah.
I have seen in my own experience, people go through these types of things, and it's scary.
Yeah,
So,
it is.
um, you know, it's not easy to broach that subject with people. But this book definitely does a good job of that. And I think anytime a writer can touch on these types of experiences and put forth these types of emotions and show how the characters go through
Right.
things, that's a great book. And
Because
I wish that more authors would do that.
literally, when I finished the book, I just was like, wow. I was just, like I said, I didn't really know how to feel. So I called Aaron and I was just like, this, I just, you know, it was just like, wow, thanks. You know, um, I really recommend. I mean, if you guys, maybe some of you have read this book, maybe some of you haven't, but I really recommend this book. If I were to rate this book on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give this book a solid 10.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
give it a
that's,
100 if I could,
well, yeah,
but
yeah,
definitely a 10 plus.
mm,
And you know, I just want to kind of reiterate to people, um, if you see something like this, if you know of somebody or you yourself is going through something like this, please know that you are not alone.
mm-mm,
There's
nope,
always help,
nope,
always.
you're not
And
alone, yo. And even if you get something out of this video and you feel like you wanna, well, I can say for me, I mean, you know, um, I will leave some ways to get in contact with me in the description of this video, like my email address or something. But if you guys feel like you need somebody to talk to, I'm here for you guys.
right,
You know,
right. And if you feel like you need help finding resources or anything like that, we will both be more than happy to help
yeah,
you in any way that we can, because
mm-hmm,
nobody should have to face
nope,
this type of journey, either side of it, alone.
nope. So, um, is there anything else you want to say, Aaron? Or?
Just kudos to Kathleen Glasgow
Right,
for a wonderful, wonderful book. I can't say that enough, and I hope that there might be a sequel or other books that might deal with some of these issues and
right,
shed light on these things.
right. Well, uh, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Like I said, if you need help, reach out. I will leave contact info in the description, and I might even put some of the like the Alcoholics Anonymous or any of those links
Yes, I was going to
in the
suggest that.
description
Right.
too. Yeah, so if you need help, man, you're not alone. There's people out there who can help you. So. But I hope y'all have enjoyed this episode. Aaron, thank you for coming on with me and talking with me about the book. Cause if it wasn't for you, I don't know if I would ever found that book.
Well, thank you. I've enjoyed it anytime.
Yeah.
This is my cup of tea, so
So, yep, most definitely, guys. Thanks for watching the video, and if you like this video and you want more books and more documentary stuff and stuff like that, make sure you subscribe to the channel. That way you don't miss a minute of video from me. And who knows, maybe there'll be more content like this with me and Aaron. You never know what the future holds. So that's gonna be it for us, guys, and we are out.
Happy New Year and God bless.
Yep.
Type row 1, cock 3 MP3, cock 3 stop button.